you're listening to the CIF playoffs on KPCS Pasadena. Tonight, St. Francis and Marina from Glendale High School. Good crowd on hand tonight. They're all standing, anticipating this opening kickoff. As a coach, George, what do you try and tell your players on a night like this when you're playing in a CIF playoff game to try and, well, not take the starch out of them, but keep them on an even keel, not let them get so psyched up that they're going to play their game in the locker room before coming out in the field?
Right. You don't want them too tight, but you do want them to know that, hey, this is a pretty big ball game, but yet you don't want them so tight that they might be flat, so to speak. So you try to talk, I feel, you try to emphasize the importance of, hey, this is another football game. You have been through 11 so far this season. So this is another football game. It has a lot of meaning to it, but it's another football game.
Dropping back deep for Marina High School, we see Larry Bodel. The extreme deep man is Jim Taylor. And also dropping back deep for the Vikings tonight is Jeff Franson. He's on the left side, and Bodel is on the right side, and Taylor is in the center. Getting set to tee the ball up for St. Francis is Voy Cox, who also plays at tight end for the Knights offensively. St. Francis off to our right. The kicking team is on the field. So is the defending team and also the receiving team. We're set to go. The referee signals the ball is in play. St. Francis kicker Vo Cox counts his players, says we're ready to go. The line is set, and here comes the kickoff of this CIF playoff game is underway. Miller fields the kickoff at his 10. He's to the 15, up the center of the field, across the 20, to the 25, and then is hit and driven down at about the 30-yard line. Leading the way for St. Francis and doing the tackling for the Knights on that kickoff was Tom Sweeney, who is a reserve guard. So Marina sets up offensively, led by Sam Aiello, 6'2", 195-pound quarterback, and he is a good one, the 25th best passer in Southern California this year. As we get an opportunity, we'll give you the statistics, but Marina's ready to go. Both Bodel and Taylor go wide to the right side this time as the back split behind Aiello. Looks over the line, barks out his signals. On first down, he hands off to Jim Warburton, and Warburton powers his way off right guard across the 30, up to about the 33-yard line before he is hit and dropped by Randy Booth. Also, Matt Peters in on the stop for the St. Francis Knights. So it's going to be second down and about 7 to go for the Vikings. Into the game as a wide receiver now for Marina is Ray Bellamy, and he goes wide to the right side along with Bodel. As the backs are again split, Taylor and Warburton behind Aiello. And Aiello fakes and then hands off to the first man through the line, who is Warburton. And Warburton gets across the 40 up to the 41-yard line and is close to a first down, but looks like he's about a half a yard short. It's going to be third down and less than a yard to go for the Vikings. Good execution on the play on the part of the quarterback that time, giving the ball to his fullback. Nothing fancy, straight up the middle.
Excellent execution, and in the line, of course, that in those trenches is where it's going to be won. They're measuring now.
As they stretch the chains out, it looks to be close, but again, from our vantage point, it looks to be about a half a yard short, and it's even closer than that. It's about a foot short of a first down as the ball is just across the 40-yard line. No score in the game, Marina and St. Francis. You mentioned the offensive line play. Both these teams are about evenly matched on the lines, and we'll dwell on that in just a few moments. As Mark Huntley goes wide to the right side along with Larry Bodel. Third down and less than a yard for Marina. The ball just on the outside of the 40-yard line. And this time Aiello keeps himself and gets the first down as he gets up to about the 42-yard line.
Very good call on the part of the offense. Just the necessary 1 second delay, and the quarterback right on in behind that center on a wedge, and they got their first down. And, of course, early they're both kind of feeling each other out, offensively and defensively.
And when you have two ball control teams, that's going to make it even more difficult on the team that is on defense when the first score is made.
You betcha.
On first down, Aiello fakes and drops back to pass, fires and completes it to Huntley across the 40-yard line of St. Francis, and he goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Huntley was wide open, as Sam Ayalo faked into the middle. Same play he's been working to his fullback, Jim Warburton, and instead dropped back to pass and found Huntley all alone at the 32-yard line. 26-yard gain and a first down for Marina.
And it was an excellent fake. He really drew everybody inside, which he also drew that cornerback in just enough that the kid got behind him. That's what's great about high school football.
Backs are split now as it's 1st and 10 for Marina. St. Francis 32-yard line. And Ayalo hands off to Warburton. He breaks a tackle at the 25-yard line. He's going to go all the way down to the 1-yard line. He did not get into the end zone. Warburton broke a tackle at the 20-yard line when it looked like he was going to go down, spun around, and then walked backwards to get his balance, and then finally took off and was grabbed at the last second by Todd Short at the 1-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal for Marina, and it's not even at the 1-yard line. The ball is touching the goal line. So the Vikings have it 1st and goal inside the 1-yard line. Ayalo barks out the signals. A little movement on the line, and maybe one of the running backs moved as well as a flag goes down. And before the play can be run, they're going to call it back. It looked as though one of the running backs of Marina started to hesitate just a little bit, but it was okay because he moved before the line is set. Now, it may have been that one of the linemen also moved for the Vikings, and we'll see what the officials decide on this play. It's going to be against Marina for 5 yards for illegal motion. So illegal procedure against the Vikings.
Ed, that must be first down and 5 yards and 4 inches.
If that.
It's that close.
Ball just outside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for the Vikings. No score in the game. Less than 10 minutes to go first quarter. Ayalo fakes, keeps the ball himself, and rolls to the right. And he didn't fool anybody as he's hit and dropped right at the 5-yard line. Good pursuit by Tom Klein, the defensive right end for St. Francis. Ayalo did not fool anybody, and Klein reached in and grabbed him as though he was going to pitch maybe. It may have been an option pitch that time for the Marina quarterback. In any event, it's 2nd and goal from the 5. This time, Huntley goes wide to the left. He caught that 26-yard pass a few moments ago for Marina. Backs, Warburton and Taylor split behind Ayalo, and Ayalo fakes and then hands off to Warburton, and he bursts his way into the end zone for a touchdown, and Marina takes a 6-0 lead. Jim Warburton scores on a 5-yard run.
Ed, to go back to that to the run that set up this touchdown by Warburton, he was hit well in the line on about the 22, 23-yard line. Spun, was hit again, and then just ran out of everybody's reaches right down to the 6-inch line.
Jeff Avignati will attempt the extra point for the Marina Vikings. Holding for the Vikings is Bob Grandstaff. There's the snap. The kick is up, and it is good. So with 9:11 left to go in the first quarter, there's a timeout on the field, and the score, Marina 7, St. Francis nothing. We'll be back in 30 seconds right after this message.
Pasadena City College, the college designed for you. According to Bob Miller, here's why.
I found out for myself that dead-end ideas lead to dead-end jobs. I was going nowhere until I took classes at PCC and learned to do things right. Now I'm doing pretty good. I own my own shop, and 5 guys are working for me.
Pasadena City College offers more than 60 vocational and occupational job preparation programs. PCC is the college designed for you, too.
Marina High School drives 70 yards for the initial score in this football game as the Vikings take a big gain, a 26-yard run, or 26-yard pass play to Huntley, and a 20-yard run by Warburton. Warburton has 45 yards on 5 carries for the Vikings tonight and is the leading ball carrier in the game. The first score, George, in a game such as this is very important, as you want to get that initial score in a CIF playoff game, especially when you're the visiting team.
Yes, to get that first score up on the board is really something. This is interesting. He's kicking off from the 39-yard line, really, instead of the 40.
From the 39-yard line, the kickoff goes in the direction of one of the St. Francis back people, and he brings it up across the 20-yard line to the 25-yard line. Bringing it up for St. Francis that time was Bill Chase, and he got to about the 21. So it's going to be first down for the Knights at the 21-yard line. They trail 7-0. Vince Beltrami is the quarterback. Cody Gibbs the fullback, and Pat Constantini, the leading ball carrier on the team, is the tailback. They also have slot back Brian Sanderson. And yes, he is the brother of Robbie and Reggie, as well as John, who all played in the San Gabriel Valley. John and Robbie at Pasadena City College, and Reggie up at Stanford after they played at St. Francis. Out of the eye, the Knights have it 1st and 10. As Beltrami rolls to his left, he's going to keep the ball himself and gets across the 20 up to the 25-yard line. Beltrami, who has rushed quite well for St. Francis this year, gaining 81 yards this season for the Knights. So, you know, as a quarterback, he can run with a football.
And he did a good job there. He used his blockers. I thought that Marina folded, come right along that line well.
All right, so we're set to go again, and it's going to be 2nd down and 6 to go for the Knights. The ball at about the 24-yard line. As Beltrami rolls to his right, he's going to plant his feet and throw the ball long downfield, and it's incomplete at the 50-yard line. The pass was intended for Sanderson at the 50-yard line, and he was double-teamed that time by a couple of Vikings, Matt Kay and Jeff Karen, and they collided right at the 50-yard line. The pass fell incomplete. So it's going to be 3rd down and 6, and some of the fans felt that may have been a little bit too much bumping that time.
Right, and the pattern was just that Sanderson was the only one deep. There looked like there could have been one in short, but the only deep receiver out was Sanderson, and of course, you never really know. Here we are back up to the line of scrimmage again, Ed.
3rd down and 6. Beltrami, who only throws an average of 8 times a game, is set to throw again as he rolls to his left, throws, and completes the pass this time. Pass complete to Costantini, and he goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line with a 1st down for St. Francis. Costantini caught the ball over his shoulder at the 35-yard line, then trotted out of bounds, and it's good enough for a 1st down for St. Francis.
You know, he got the last 3 or 4 yards tightrope right down that sidelines, and I thought that the quarterback had a great deal of patience.
Yes.
Waiting to throw that ball.
Yes, he did. He had a good deal of patience that time as Costantini made the catch, a gain of 10 yards for a 1st down. And now Beltrami hands off on the 1st down. Costantini carries it up the center of the field to about the 39-yard line. Gain of about 4.
Well,
St. Francis doing a lot of movement. The quarterback runs as much laterally as many of his players go straight up the field. It seems like on every play he's executing to the right or to the left.
Well, of course, they're feeling out that defense to see what they can do, and it's going to be one up front. You know that.
2nd down, 2nd and 6 at the 39 for St. Francis. They trail in the game 7-0, 7 minutes to go in the 1st quarter. And Beltrami hands off again to Rob Wheeler this time, who was playing in the tailback spot that time, and he gets up to about the 44-yard line. Gain on the play of about 5, and it's going to be 3rd down, and about a yard to go for a 1st down for St. Francis. Rob Wheeler, who is a backup tailback, also plays some fullback for St. Francis, and he is one of these all-purpose players that Brian Fogarty says are the nucleus of the St. Francis team.
Well, the kid did a good job. He came right up the middle.
St. Francis, 3rd and 1. St. Francis made its only 3rd down a 1st down on the previous series, as this time Costantini carries it across the 45 up to about the 47-yard line and gets the 1st down for St. Francis. The tailback going off right side, getting a good block from Art Acosta that time, and is finally brought down at the 47-yard line by Craig Sturgis and Rob Carpenter for Marina.
You know, Ed, it's great to see this St. Francis cheering section right below us. They've not sit down yet, and I doubt if they will during the ball game.
This time out of the veer, St. Francis works as Beltrami on 1st down, rolls to his right to throw, plants his feet at the 40, fires over on the right side, and it's complete inside the 35, down to the 30-yard line. Catching the pass for St. Francis, Roger Clay.
20.
And Clay doing a great job that time, swiped it away from Jeff Curran, I believe, who was down there covering defensively, or was it Sturgis who was down there covering defensively for Marina, and he did a super job of holding on to the football and getting a 1st down on a 25-yard play.
The Marina safety made a stab at an interception, but missed. It was a great catch.
This Marina team is a very opportunistic defense, and they've got to be right now as St. Francis has it 1st and 10 at the 30. And this time, Beltrami hands off to Costantini, and he powers his way inside the 30 to the 25-yard line before he's finally hit and grabbed by Ron Mathern for St. Francis, or rather for Marina. And St. Francis will have it 2nd and 5.
It's interesting that St. Francis has averaged 8 passes a game, and we have had 3 or 4 already in the first 7 minutes of this ball game by St. Francis.
We've had 3, and he's made 2 completions on 3 passes. This time Beltrami hands off to Costantini again, and he spins his way inside the 25 down to about the 22. It's going to be 3rd down, 3rd and about 3 to go, maybe 2 to go for St. Francis. And Marina bringing in about 6 new players as they may be going into almost a goal line type of defense here.
Most of those are
yardage.
Most of those are right in the center of the line.
Costantini has 15 yards on 4 carries tonight for the Knights. And now St. Francis lines up with 3 backs, almost a wishbone or maybe even a full house variation there, as Costantini takes the pitch from Beltrami, sweeping to the right side, turns the corner, and did not make it as he's hit right at the 23-yard line.
Very good pursuit by Marina.
Leading the way for the Vikings that time and showing good pursuit was Sam Ayalo, who is in the lineup for Marina defensively and was in on that one particular play, and he's the quarterback for Marina. Also Jeff Karen for the Vikings, both defensive backs. So it's going to be 4th down. 4th, and he lost a yard, so 4th and a long 3 or a short 4 to go, and we're going to have a field goal attempt now coming up from Berto Cesar, who made one of 40 yards last week to win the game against Los Altos. This one is also a 40. It is up. Oh, and it's perfect. But there is a flag on the play. It appeared like it was perfect. No indication from the officials yet, as the penalty was dropped before the kick. And it's going to be 5 yards against St. Francis. Berto Cesar is from Brazil, George, and as we told you last week, he kicked one of 40 yards, the only score of the game against Los Altos, 3-0.
The soccer-style kickers have really changed not only the pros and colleges, but high school football.
St. Francis penalized 5 yards for illegal motion, so the field goal does not hold up, and the Knights are going to go for it here on 4th and 9 at the Marina 29. Backs are split now behind Beltrami. And he rolls to his left as if to throw. Plants his feet, fires it, and it's intercepted at the 21-yard line. Coming up with the interception, Sam Ayalo, who is the quarterback, and he picks off the pass. And if he had not picked it off, they would have had it another 10 yards up the field. But they still get the ball, the Vikings do, at the 22-yard line. Leading 7-0 with 3:22 to go in the first quarter.
This Ayalo is really quite a football player.
6'2", 195-pound senior for Marina. And he is the quarterback and brings them up to the line of scrimmage with Warburton and Taylor split behind him. St. Francis defensively now as Marina working out of the rear. And on 1st down, Ayalo hands off to Jim Warburton, the workhorse running back for the Vikings, and he gets across the 25 up to the 26-yard line. Gain on the play of about 5 yards. It's going to be 2nd down and 5 to go for the Vikings. Warburton, George, has 536 yards coming into the game. Not as many as Taylor, but tonight he's the one who's carrying the ball.
Well, he has certainly impressed me thus far in this ball game as an excellent ball carrier.
Again, out of the veer, the Vikings go to work with Ayalo barking out the signals. The back split behind him, and he hands off to Jim Taylor, and Taylor gets up to about the 28 and then is hit and decked right at the 28-yard line. Good defensive pursuit that time. Art Acosta, along with Tom Klein, making the defensive play for St. Francis. Gain on the play, though, of a couple of yards, and it's going to be 3rd down and 3 to go for the Marina Vikings. They lead in the game 7-0 as we have just less than 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Sam Ayalo sends Hundley to the left and Bodle to the right. Backs are split now. Ayalo fakes and keeps it himself and steps across the 30 and has the 1st down as he gets up to about the 33-yard line. Ayalo looked like he was walking through the line of scrimmage that time. It was almost like it was a slow motion play, but he got the first down as Carl McKee making the defensive play for St. Francis.
He certainly was high-stepping it, shall we say, and like you say, it wasn't a run. It was more like just a walk, a step over bodies in there.
First down for Marina. They haven't been stopped tonight by St. Francis, leading 7-0. Wide receivers, both of them to the left side, as Aiello hands off to Warburton, and a penalty flag goes down as he gets right up to the 35-yard line. Flag was dropped right at the point of attack, and it looks like it might be going against Marina, as they're talking it over with St. Francis co-captain Art Acosta. And this could be a big one against the Vikings, as it was dropped right where the blocking took place.
Yes, that, and if it would have been on the snap, why, you would have, well, that's what it was.
It was backfield in motion. It's declined as St. Francis choosing to use up the down, and it's going to be 2nd down and 10.
I've often wondered why, on the same situation, usually your pro team will take that penalty, and I've often wondered why not waste that down.
Especially when you're going against a team that plays ball control.
Yes.
And that is what Marina does. Nearing the 1-minute mark of this first quarter, back to pass. Aiello throws and overthrows his intended receiver. Pass was intended for Greg Kane, the tight end. He had circled over the middle, coming out about 5 yards, and it was overthrown. So it's going to be 3rd down and 10 to go for the Vikings, with 1:05 left to go in the first quarter. And Marina out in front, 7-0. Been a fast-moving first quarter so far.
Boy, this well, we've had penalties, timeout for penalties, but we haven't had a timeout.
No timeouts. We've had a few incompleted passes, I think 2 or 3. And just the one score. Aiello on a draw play, hands off to Miller, and what a great defensive play as he's hit behind the line back at the 32-yard line. Tom Klein making the defensive play for the St. Francis Knights, and now Marina is forced to punt. Sam Aiello, the quarterback, handles the punting chores for the Vikings, so you can always keep a fake in mind. Dropping back deep, Todd Short, and he's a good one, only a junior. And Roger Clay for the St. Francis Knights. They're standing at about their own 35-yard line. Aiello standing inside the 20 to punt the ball for the Vikings. There's the snap. The kick is high in the air.
Very good
Clay watches it bounce behind him at the 20. It's rolling inside the 10 to the 5, and a diving try for it, and he didn't get it. It goes in the end zone, a touchback.
It was a beautiful kick, and the kid made, what an effort he made to touch that ball in on about the 1 or 2 yard line.
I'll tell you, if they'd been playing where there was a little more grass on the field, George, that might not have bounced so hard.
Right, because the center of this field, as most of our high school fields, are pretty well worn. And he just, if that would have slowed up just a little bit, that ball would have hung there and been touched and controlled.
So St. Francis is set to go at its own 20-yard line. 1st and 10, the Knights trail 7-0. Out of the I formation, Beltrami. Hands off to a slot back, Sanderson, and Sanderson sweeping around the right side, and a quick opener gets across the 25 and up to the 30-yard line, and is close to a first down for St. Francis.
He has a first down.
So Sanderson, Brian Sanderson, I guess you could call that an inside reverse, took the handoff going from left to right and got 10 yards out of it for a first down.
St. Francis has showed me several sets up here tonight, and that's really interesting.
Sanderson this time lines up on the right side, and that is the end of the first quarter before they can get the playoff with the score. Marina 7, St. Francis nothing. We'll be back in 30 seconds right after this message.
Is the high cost of living keeping you away from college? The Middle Income Students Assistance Act has opened the financial aid doors to many students at Pasadena City College. The act entitles students from families with incomes up to $25,000 per year to a basic grant. Eligible students can receive up to $3,000 to help pay for educational costs. More information is available from the PCC Financial Aid's office. Call 578-7401. That's 578-7401.
George Scott, I'm Ed Lewis. We are back live at Glendale High School. Marina 7, St. Francis nothing as we start the second quarter. St. Francis has the ball 1st and 10 at its own 31-yard line. Out of the I formation, the Knights work now as Beltrami hands off to his tailback, and Rob Wheeler carries the ball for St. Francis up to about the 35-yard line. Good defense that time for Marina, led by Craig Sturgis, the nose guard for the Vikings. Also Lynn Brandon for Marina making the hit. At the 35, a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for St. Francis.
Now St. Francis looks as if they're to their normal ground game. Come inside a couple of times and then go outside.
Jab and punch.
Right.
Backs are split very wide this time to St. Francis and a veer now. Beltrami fakes and then hands off to Victor Santos, the fullback, turning the corner at the 35. Gets up to the 40-yard line and is close to another 1st down for St. Francis. Victor Santos, who was playing fullback that time, showing some speed as he turned the corner and got about 6 yards up to the 40-yard line. Actually 5 yards. This is going to be 3rd down and less than a yard to go. Lee Knowles was there. Also Rich Michowski was there for the Marina Vikings.
We have 3 changes in that defensive lineup, and in again comes
St.
12, the
tight defense now as Beltrami hands off to Costantini, and there is a penalty flag on the play before the snap of the football, it appeared, although they ran the play, and Costantini apparently had a 1st down, but I think it's going to be brought back now. St. Francis guilty of illegal motion, so that'll move it back inside the 35 to the, right at the 35-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 6 to go for the St. Francis Knights, 2nd penalty of the game. The player you're talking about who's in there defensively, the quarterback, Sam Aiello, who intercepted that pass a few minutes ago to stop the St. Francis drive.
They seem to bring him in on 3rd down and short yardage, even 3rd down long.
St. Francis has made 2 out of 3 3rd down conversions. They're looking at 3rd and 6 here as Beltrami back to pass. Rolls to his right. The rush is on. 4 rushers, and he's going to keep the ball and runs across the 40 and has the 1st down as it gets up to about the 45-yard line. Vince Beltrami fears nothing. There were 4 defensive pursuers, and finally he was shoved out of bounds by Lee Knowles as he got to the 44-yard line and got a 1st down. I don't know about you, George, but I would just chicken out and run out of bounds right then and there.
Well, he turned that corner, what was great, and one of his receivers, prospective receivers, came back and put a block enough to help him to get that 1st down.
I believe it was Roger Clay who threw the key block that time, who was in as a split end. And Clay goes to the right this time, the only wide receiver. Sanderson as a slot, also to the right side. Out of the eye now, Beltrami hands off to his tailback, and Pat Costantini gets across the 45 up to about the 47. Got about 2 yards before he was finally hit and brought down again. Lee Knowles. Lee Knowles is the leading defensive player on this Marina team. It is a team of no names on the defense, but Lee Knowles was an all-Sunset League linebacker and was a leading tackler for Marina High School this year, and he is a good one.
Well, both of these teams are well-schooled in the fundamentals of football. This is very obvious in the first quarter. You can see that they are well-schooled in that.
2nd down and 8, Beltrami hands off to his fullback, Victor Santos, and he is hit right as he got to the line of scrimmage. And it looked like the Vikings were trying to strip the ball from him as he was hit right at the line of scrimmage and then clutched the ball. Finally was brought down by Vic Visayas, or Visayas, and that was at the 48-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and about 6 to go for the Knights. They trail 7-0 with 9 minutes to go in the first half. Fast-moving first half. Out of the eye, Beltrami sends 2 receivers, both wide to the left side. And he rolls to his left, and a penalty flag is going to go down before he can run the play.
Looked like St. Francis had a lineman moving just before the snap.
I'm amazed that these teams are as precise as they are on offense, because you've got 2 teams that really are good executing teams, that block well, and there's a lot of faking with the backs. And as we look at the first quarter statistics, we can see Marina has outgained St. Francis, 84 total yards to 67 total yards. But Vince Beltrami has completed 2 out of 4 passes for 34 yards for the St. Francis Knights, and that's almost a complete game for him. Out of the I formation, it is 3rd and 11 for St. Francis. Back to pass, Beltrami rolls to his left, looking to throw. He's going to keep it himself, and he's grabbed from behind and forced out of bounds at the 45-yard line, actually at the 43-yard line, on a good defensive play. Rich Bischowski was there for St. Francis to grab, or rather for Marina, to grab the St. Francis quarterback and throw him out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
Very good pursuit. Very good pursuit by Marina, and they strung that play out and were able to get to the quarterback.
Pat Costantini will be punting for St. Francis, standing at his own 30-yard line. He kicks a high one that is taken by Huntley at the 15. Huntley, looking for blockers, gets up to the 20 and is hit right at the 23-yard line and dropped at the 23-yard line. As defensively for St. Francis that time on the punt return coverage was Dan Bachman. And at the 24, Marina will put it in play, leading 7-0 with 8:24 to go in the first half of play. And you're listening to high school football on KPCS Pasadena. I'm Ed Lewis along with George Scott, our reserve color man tonight, who is also the head of physical education and recreation for Pasadena City Schools. So when he speaks, you know he's talking from authority because he's been coaching this game longer than many of us have been watching football. As on first down, Sam Aiello hands off to Jim Taylor, and he gets up to about the 29-yard line. I don't mean that disrespectfully, George.
That's all right. That's all right.
And apparently we're having a little bit of problem with your mic, George, so we'll share mine here for a while as we apologize for some of the technical difficulty here. It is going to be 2nd and 7 for Marina now as the ball's at the 29-yard line. In the back split behind Aiello. Marina uses that veer, and Aiello pitches back to Taylor, and he has a little trouble with the pitch and has to fall on the football at the 23-yard line. The first fumble for Marina, as Jim Taylor really just couldn't hold on to the pitch from Sam Aiello.
It looked like it was just a little behind him, so he had to stop and probably saw a couple of knights coming at him and dropped that ball, and then he fell on it, which is the thing to do, of course, if you can catch it.
Ball is spotted at the 29-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down. Make it the 23-yard line. This is going to be 3rd down and 11 to go now for Marina. Back to pass Aiello, and it's hit right at the line of scrimmage. Oh, what a great defensive play. Tom Klein, the defensive end, did a great job that time of knocking the ball right at the line of scrimmage. George, I'm going to give you this one now for a while.
Okay.
We play musical microphones tonight here at Glendale High School, and now Marina's going to be forced to punt. Todd Short and Roger Clark.
You know, 89, Ron Catafalmo was in on that tackle, too, which was a good one.
Aiello set to punt. He kicks a high one that bounces the 50-yard line and then takes a Marina roll inside the 40 to the 35 and to the 34-yard line of St. Francis. And that's where the Knights will take over with 6:38 to go in the first half, and Marina leading by a score of 7-0.
You know, he got a pretty good kick out of that. He must have got close to 40 yards.
Sam Aiello is one of the best quarterbacks Marina's ever had. He is closing in on a lot of passing records at the school that were set back when I was going to school there in 1968, and we had a quarterback named Mike Tomiyasu. Team didn't win too many games. We had a scoreless tie on homecoming. And,
well, Ed, I didn't realize that you were alum here.
well, I've been kind of hiding it all night long as Beltrami hands off on the first play to Constantini, and he breaks a tackle at the 50-yard line and gets inside the 45 down to the 40, and it's Victor Santos carrying the ball for St. Francis all the way down to the 35-yard line. He broke a tackle right at midfield and was able to gain 30 yards and a first down for St. Francis at the Marina 35-yard line. What a beautiful run.
Plus, it was good execution on the part of the quarterback and the other backs, not just the quarterback, the other back after that handoff.
I thought Constantini got the handoff, and in turn it was the fullback Santos who did. St. Francis looks like they're almost running a full house, but we'll explain it to you in a bit as Beltrami hands off to the first man through the line. It's Constantini, and he goes off right guard inside the 30-yard line down to 25, and a first down for St. Francis. Pat Costantini got a great block from Art Acosta, who led the interference for him on the right side.
That sure looked like student body right, didn't it?
Yes, and Constantini has 27 yards tonight for St. Francis. They line up with two backs, actually three backs behind the quarterback, but two of them are split in a veer formation, George, as St. Francis has asked for time with 5:39 left to go in this first half, and Marina leading 7-0.
I believe this is the first timeout that we have had, other than for penalties.
It is, except for the penalties and the score and the end of the quarter. We haven't had any stoppage of the clock. But, George, I was about to say St. Francis is lining up with two running backs in a veer type of set behind the quarterback, and a third running back who is actually a foot or so behind the other two, lined up on a even plane with them, almost a full house type. But what would you call it? You couldn't really call it a full house.
Well, it's I guess you'd call it a staggered full house.
A staggered full house.
Ray Elliott at Illinois ran this sometime, way back in the 40s. He ran this a little bit, but as you could tell on that one, that was strictly student body right. They pitched back, and everybody got in front of that ball carrier and blocked.
1st and 10 for St. Francis at the 24-yard line. Again, this time the staggered back is on the right side, and he gets the handoff as Beltrami hands off to Sanderson, and Sanderson, with good mobility, gets down to about the 20-yard line. Brian Sanderson, I want to call him Ravi because Ravi played at Pasadena City College as a wide receiver, runs very well when he gets the ball. He kind of has excellent balance. You can almost see his center of balance shift from left to right as he runs across the line.
He really looks, he really picks the holes. On that one, he kind of sidestepped through that hole because there wasn't much of a hole there.
It is going to be 2nd down and 5 at the 20-yard line as Beltrami has those backs behind him again, and this time he hands off to the trailing back who powers his way inside the 20, and it's Constantini who gets down to the 13-yard line for St. Francis at another 1st down.
You know, Ed, the three backs at St. Francis, when they line up behind the quarterback, they are all at different depths behind the line of scrimmage. It's what is funny. The middle one is closest to the line of scrimmage, and usually the one on the right is just maybe 6 inches behind him, but the other one is a good yard back, the one on the left half.
It is 1st and 10, St. Francis 13-yard line. This time, the handoff goes from Beltrami to his fullback, and the fullback gets down to about the 10-yard line. It's Cody Gibbs carrying for the first time in the game. And it's going to be 2nd down at the 10-yard line. It was Constantini who carried that time for St. Francis. 2nd down and 9. 4 minutes to go in the first half. Marina 7, St. Francis nothing, but the Knights coming back here have it 2nd down and 9 at the 10-yard line. Again, those back split, but there's 3 of them in the backfield. It's a variation of the full house. As this time, Beltrami hands off to the lagging back, and he gets down inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Sanderson carrying that time, and he gets down to about the 7-yard line where it's going to be 3rd down. 3rd and about 6 coming up for St. Francis. And really all these backs are adept at playing every position for the Knights.
They kind of change positions there, which is good.
I'm trying to center on where they're playing, and I'm having a little trouble catching which back it is. But now they're all 3 of them. Full house it looks like this time, as it's 3rd down and 3 this time. And Beltrami hands off to Wheeler, and Wheeler finds a big opening and gets down to the 2-yard line and is close to a 1st down as he's right at the 2-yard line. Wheeler was grabbed from behind by Lee Knowles that time for Marina, but not before he got down to the 2-yard line.
Looks like they're going to measure for this one.
Very close to a 1st down.
Although Marina closed that hole, it opened. It was a big opening, and then they closed it real quickly.
They move the chains in. And it's a 1st down for St. Francis. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. So with 3:14 left to go, the Knights have lots of time. They trail, though, 7-0, and have it 1st and goal at the 2. A score from Lompoc, or Lompoc, if you will, 13, San Marino 7. And that is at halftime in that football game. Or close to it, anyway. Again, 1st and goal here for St. Francis, and Beltrami hands off to Constantini. He's in. Touchdown. And it's 7-6 in favor of Marina, rather, as St. Francis goes on the scoreboard. So the Knights, with a great drive that time, go in all the way for a touchdown, and Constantini scoring on a 2-yard run.
A tremendous drive of almost 70 yards, I would say.
65.
65 yards, and that was a great drive.
Now the extra point will be attempted by Berto Cesar. Holding for Cesar as the kick is up, and it's blocked. It's blocked by Marina. I'm not sure who got in there to block it.
It looked like it was a low kick.
I believe it bounced off Steve Fletcher that time, who was in there as a tackle. But in any event, there's 2:57 left to go in the score. Marina 7, St. Francis 6, and we'll be back right after this message.
Come here, sweetheart. That's a good girl. You know, ever since I...
Drive 65 yards as Pat Costantini goes in from 2 yards out for the score. The point after was blocked, though, and Marina still leads it 7-6. Berto Cesar to kick off, and his kick is high in the air. Taken at the 5-yard line, or the 4-yard line, if you will, by Miller. He goes up the center of the field, across the 20, up to the 24-yard line, and that is where the Vikings will put it in play, 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. 2:52 to go in the first half.
Ed, to show you, to date myself, as those kids, the St. Francis kids, lined up for that extra point try, I thought back many, many years ago when we used to drop kick that ball for extra points. Can you believe that?
Yes, I've seen it on some old silent movies somewhere, George.
Thank you.
First down for Marina at the 24-yard line. Ayala hands off to his fullback that time, and Jim Warburton gets across the 30 up to the 35-yard line, gets about 9 yards on a play that was a great executed play because he went really around the outside that time, and it looked like he took the handoff and went straight ahead. He got about 9.5. It's going to be 2.5 yard to go.
Warburton has certainly impressed me. He has impressed me as a fine back.
And he's the number 2 ball carrier on the team. Backs are split now as Warburton has 59 yards in the game, and Ayala hands off to Taylor, and Taylor gets up to about the 38-yard line. Good enough for a first down for the Vikings as he got about 3 yards. He was finally dropped by Dan Bachman for St. Francis. So Marina coming right back, but is there time? 2 minutes to go in the first half, and the Vikings lead it by 1. Both teams have moved well up and down the field.
Surprisingly, I didn't believe that would happen.
Ayala back to pass, fires a quick pass that's incomplete at the 35-yard line. Pass was intended for Jim Taylor, and he was covered that time by Roger Clay, and we have a injured man, and it is Taylor, as Sam Ayala tried to throw a quick pass to him. So the back was circling right out of the backfield at the 45-yard line, and Taylor, I think, trying to reach for it, may have just twisted a little bit and went down.
He could have twisted his body, and going back, the ball was thrown behind him.
So that stops the clock with 1:51 left to go in the first half here. And George, we were talking that you are surprised that this game really is more offensive, I think, than the score would indicate, 7-6.
Yes, we've had some excellent offensive plays.
Ayala may not sell him personally, but boy, he sure gets the fans interested.
Oh, hey, this is an exciting football player, I think. Just an excellent football player. And you know that a kid like that, I call them 110%ers. They've got to give that all the time.
Vince Beltrami is the quarterback for St. Francis in the full house. Pat Costantini, Brian Sanderson, and Cody Gibbs are the running backs. And on first down, Beltrami hands off to Costantini, and he goes around the right side and gets across the 25 up to the 29-yard line. Gained about 2. It's going to be 2nd down and 8. St. Francis offensive line, Vo Cox the tight end, Jim Miller and Steve Dondonville are the tackles. Art Acosta and Ray De Leon are the guards. Tom Kersey is the center. Wide receivers are Roger Clay, and also sometimes we see Keenan Stanley in there. Brian Sanderson is the slot back. And the slot back this time lines up as that trailing back, one step behind the two backs who are split behind the quarterback, so it's actually almost a full house. And this time the quarterback is Beltrami. He's back to pass. He throws over the center of the field, completes it to Sanderson, and he's hit right as he caught the ball at the 36-yard line. May have gotten up to the 37. He's going to be about a yard short of a first down. And, you know, they talk about some teams, George, that do it on first down. You know, the Dallas Cowboys are always a good team at gaining 6, 7, 8 yards on a first down. St. Francis seems to be the team that does it on second downs. I think there hasn't been a series where they haven't gotten 5 or 6 yards on second down. And apparently the Knights are close enough here to a first down that they're going to bring in the chains for a measurement.
It is also interesting, this is only the second time that I've seen Beltrami, and that kid is an excellent scrambler. He has 2 or 3 times scrambled well and found his man, just as he found Sanderson there.
Well, a good Veer quarterback has got to be a scrambler. He's got to be able to execute, move the ball, catch it, run it. That's what the Veer, the key position in the Veer, I think, is the quarterback. I remember Jim Lejay at Pasadena City College was an outstanding running quarterback.
You know, Marina made their same substitution. Four people came in.
Well, it's going to be third down and about half a yard, maybe a few inches to go for a first down. St. Francis has made 4 out of 6 third down conversions so far. Again, that 3-man backfield, and the quarterback this time, Beltrami, keeps, and I don't know if he got it. He's hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Close. That is going to be close.
Good defense by Marina that time. Jeff Caron was there from the safety spot. Craig Sturgis, Rob Carpenter was there, but not before Beltrami got the first down. Also, Rob Mathern was there, Ron Mathern. First down.
He was right at the bottom of that pile, and of course we all know that it's these games are won or lost up in those trenches up front.
All right, again, 2 running backs. This time they're split. And then the third running back who's a step behind what is the fullback. It looks almost like a wishbone, but not quite. And we're going to have some movement on the line before Beltrami can drop back the pass. And is it going to be against Marina for being offside or St. Francis for moving illegally? Looks like it might be Marina. It is.
It looks like encroachment on Marina.
That'll be a break for the Knights as it moves it across the 40 up to the 44, and it's going to be first down and 5 to go for the St. Francis Knights. They lead at 14-7, 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Again, that, well, broken wish, almost a wish, or a, what did you call that about the Veer? As Wheeler gets the pitch from Beltrami and gets across the 45 and has a first down up at the 50-yard line. First down before he's finally hit and brought down by Rob Carpenter. First down for St. Francis right at the 50-yard line. What do you call that formation? A Veer, or you call it a full house with a railing back? Or?
It certainly looks like a full house, but it also brings back a few memories. It really operates a great deal like the split T that Fred Farrow or Don Farrow used in Missouri.
All right, they're in that split T type of formation as Beltrami hands off to his fullback, and carrying the ball is Wheeler, who gets across the 50 inside the 40 down to the 36-yard line of Marina before he's finally brought down by Craig Sturgis. It's going to be first down after a gain of 14 yards in the game, and so far Wheeler has 30 yards in the game for St. Francis. He is the third leading running back. They're all doing well. Santos has 44. Constantini has 39 for St. Francis. First down at the 36 of Marina for the Knights. Beltrami hands off to Constantini, and he breaks through the line inside the 30 and powers his way down inside the 25 to the 20-yard line. And that word, I'm not overusing it, he powered his way for 15 more and a first down for St. Francis, as the Knights are really starting to bowl some holes to the Viking defense.
And Marina again brings in 5 new people on defense, which they have done repeatedly all night, especially on third down situations. And this happens to be a first down, but it's on their 20-yard line.
Well, Marina's got a tight-net chin strap now as they're in trouble, trailing 14-7, and St. Francis on the move. And Beltrami hands off against the grain. The ball carrier goes inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line. Carrying the ball that time, I believe, once again, was Cody Gibbs. It was the fullback that time, and I believe that's the first time Gibbs has carried in the game. So he got a yard. It's going to be 2nd and 9 right inside the 20.
Yeah, it looked like the counter. He faked to the right half on the dive play and spun on around and handed to the fullback in over the middle.
Santos is back in at full as Beltrami hands off to Costantini, finds a block inside the 20, inside the 15 to the 10, the 5-yard line, and inside the 5 and out of bounds at the 1-yard line, maybe closer than that. Costantini goes 19 yards for a first down for St. Francis, and it's 1st and goal for the Knights. Finally, he was shoved out of bounds by Lee Knowles, but Marina has its backs against the wall now as the St. Francis Knights leading 14-7 have it 1st and goal at the 1. Big series. The first series of the halves are always big, and St. Francis has used up 4 minutes and almost has a touchdown. Beltrami on first down, hands off to Wheeler, and he is close, but apparently not in. It's going to be 2nd and goal. Stacking up that Marina line, that defensive line for the Vikings, and doing a super job. Once again, Jeff Karen from a safety man spot. Also in there for the Vikings, Craig Sturgis. And also in there for Marina that time was Doug Nichols. So all 3 of them did the job. 2nd and goal, though, closer. A blade of grass away. Everybody standing up on this side, St. Francis side now, as Beltrami hands off as the fullback is in for a touchdown. It is Santos who scores for St. Francis, and the Knights go ahead 20-7. So Victor Santos scores for the Knights, and they go all the way down the field and score on their first possession of the second half, and Santos gives them a 20-7 lead.
Santos has had 45 yards and 5 carries, which is a pretty good average. They had a couple of excellent plays as they line up for the extra point try.
Here comes the extra point try now. It will be attempted by Cesar. Holding for St. Francis again is DeSantis. There's the snap. The kick is up, and it's good. 7 minutes, 22 seconds to go in the third quarter, and the score is St. Francis 21, Marina 7, and we'll be back right after this message. Well, apparently we're not going to break at this time, as we'll keep it right here. That happens to us occasionally at this station, George.
That's all right. That was really I believe, a very crucial series in this ball game, because when you come out and receive the ball and hang on to it and march it right down for a touchdown, there has to be a little bit of influence there. No matter how experienced the defensive unit is, when you're behind 14-7 at the half and the other team, the leading team comes out and scores a touchdown on you, that has got to influence you some. But here again, we're in high school football, and Marina, is going to come out, and they are going to do, I hope that they will do the things that they do best, because I still feel that we as coaches need to do the things we do best. And even though you're 2 touchdowns behind, it doesn't take long. An intercepted pass, a fumble, to be right in it.
Here comes St. Francis kickoff by Cox, and it is taken at the 10-yard line, to the 15, the 20, up to the 25-yard line. Carrying the ball, Larry Bodle, and he gets up to the 30-yard line before he is finally dropped at the 30-yard line. Leading the way for St. Francis, Bill Chase. And so the Vikings will take over, trailing by 2 touchdowns now, and the important thing for Marina is not to get demoralized. This first series, I think, that Marina has it here, is going to tell the story of whether or not the Vikings are still in this football game.
It's a very important series for Marina.
Backs are split now behind Marina quarterback Sam Aiello. On first down, Aiello hands off to his fullback, Jim Warburton, and Warburton gets up to about the 35-yard line. He got about 4 yards. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 at the 35-yard line. Tom Klein made the stop for St. Francis. For Marina on the line, Greg Kane, Jeff Abinetti, Steve Fletcher, Jeff Braun, Steve Alosio, and Lance Perry, who is the center. In the backfield, also with Warburton, is Jim Taylor. The wide receivers are Mark Huntley and Larry Bodle. They're both to the right side. And again, this time, Aiello hands off to Jim Taylor, and Taylor gets across the 40-yard line up to about the 42-yard line and has a first down before he's finally brought down by Dan Bachman for St. Francis, right at the 40-yard line. First down.
That's a pretty good 1-2 punch, isn't it? Warburton and Taylor, those two kids have shown me they can run that football.
Taylor has 891 yards, and he is an outstanding running back. They're both seniors. Back split now behind Ayala, who looks over the line. Ayala fakes and then hands off. He handed off to Warburton, and Warburton, going up the center of the line, getting the block from Lance Perry, gets up to about the 43-yard line before Ron Catafalmo brought him down. Actually, they say his knee hit at the 42, so it's going to be second down and 8.
And they're staying with pretty much dive plays. Straight in right over the between guard and tackle. The halfback is straight ahead.
Unofficially, Warburton has 67 yards, leading ball carrier for Marina. Ayala to throw on second down. Over the middle, it's complete to Bodle inside the 50 to the 45 and inside the 40 to the 38-yard line, and a fumble on the play. St. Francis says, we've got it. The referee says, no, Marina's got it at the 38-yard line. Todd Short was covering for St. Francis on the pass play, and he said he fumbled the ball as he went down. Larry Bodle making the catch and getting a first down for Marina. So the Vikings continue to stay alive. 5:15 to go in the third quarter, trailing by a score of 21-7. Marina comes up to the line of scrimmage. Backs are split now. Ayala hands off to Warburton, and Warburton, using the block of left guard Steve Alosio, gets down to about the 35-yard line. This has now become the big series for Marina. They can't afford now not to make it here after they have driven across the 50-yard line. That's kind of the point of no return when you're behind by this much.
They have got to put some points on the board off of this drive.
Warburton and Taylor split behind Ayala. Huntley and Bodle split to the left side. As Ayala hands off to Taylor, and Taylor gets inside the 30-yard line down to about the 25-yard line and has a first down for Marina. Finally, he was hit and dropped there on a good defensive play by St. Francis's Don Bachman. You're listening to high school football on KPCS Pasadena.
Taylor really put a burst on. Once he went through the line of scrimmage, he was 10 yards deep before anyone else could see him. Excellent burst of speed on that one.
Spotted at the 23. First and 10 for Marina. Ayala pitches back to Taylor, sweeping to the left side. He's inside the 25. Rolls off a tackle and gets inside the 20. Down to about the 18-yard line. And it's Jim Warburton who carried on that play for Marina. And he gets down to about the 17. So it's going to be about second down and 4 to go. Make it 5 to go for Marina.
You know, he got the last 4 yards all on his own because he was hit. But he just kept moving and kept grinding.
Hit by Carl McKee, the nose guard, and he rolled off that tackle and finally went out of bounds. Ayala looks over the line, hands off again to Warburton, and again he powers himself forward and spins and turns and twists that body like a snake. Gets down to about the 15-yard line, and it's going to be third down and short yardage for Marina. Biggest play of the game, perhaps, for the Vikings coming up here.
This is a 3rd and 2 situation.
And Marina's made 2 out of 4 third down conversions in the game. 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Marina trailing 21-7. 3rd and 2. Ayala to throw. Fires it on the left side. Incomplete. It was intended for Huntley at the 10-yard line. He was well covered by Brian Sanderson that time. And the ball actually was a little low. I think Huntley was caught going the wrong way that time, and it went through his legs. It's going to be 4th and 2. And, well, you got to have the feeling here that Marina's going to go for it on 4th and 2 at the 15. And this could be the ball game for the Vikings.
Yeah, they, of course, have not brought in a kicking team. They're 3rd and 2.
21-7 in favor of St. Francis. Bodle and Huntley go wide to the right side. Warburton and Taylor are split behind Ayala. And he hands off to Warburton. No, he fakes and keeps it and throws, and it's incomplete at the 10-yard line. Oh, what a great defensive play by Short. The pass was intended for Taylor. What a great faking maneuver by Ayala and Warburton. Ayala threw it, and right as Taylor touched the ball, he was hit immediately by Short and coughed it up. And so St. Francis is going to get it on downs.
You know, I think that Peters I believe it was Peters that was putting pressure
Matt
on
Peters.
Yalo, because he was hit just as he released the ball. Now it will be interesting here. If they can hold, then they could still regain some of that momentum.
Looks like the wishbone for St. Francis again, as the backs are a little deeper this time. And Sanderson hands that trailing back, who is Constantini, and he gets across the 20 up to about the 22-yard line. Gets about 6 yards, but there's a penalty marker on the play. Finally, he was brought down on the play by the defensive safety that time, Jeff Karen.
Yes.
Penalties against St. Francis for holding.
Holding, and when that flag is thrown there behind the line of scrimmage into the center, you know that that's usually a holding call. And that is very unfortunate.
Half the distance, moving inside the 10 to about the 7.
Of course, unfortunate, depending on which side you're on. I just hate to see a penalty of that kind there, because you know that that kid that was the culprit hates it just as much as anybody, or worse, really.
Well, I think even the Marina fans would agree with you. They'd like to see their team win it fair and square without penalties. Beltrami hands off to his fullback, or rather a slot back, Brian Sanderson, who gets across the 10 up to about the 11-yard line. Rob Carpenter was there defensively for Marina. At about the 11-yard line, gain on the play of perhaps 2. It's going to be, well, they give him 4. It's going to be second down and 14 to go as they spotted about the 11-yard line. A score from Lompoc. Lompoc 21, San Marino 7. That's the same as our game here. Here it is St. Francis in the lead. The Knights have it second down. Beltrami fumbles the snap, and there's a scramble for it back at the 10. It looks like Beltrami may have gotten his own fumble, or perhaps it might have been Don Danville, but he got it. As St. Francis will hold on to it, even though he lost a yard back to the 10. Third down, and about 15 to go, as we have 2 minutes to go in this third quarter, and St. Francis leading 21-7. Well, it was nervous time for the Knights.
Yes, and for Marina, this is the one they want to hold them on. They want to force them to give up that football.
Well, they're in an obvious prevent defense now, as Beltrami on a draw play hands off to Wheeler, and Wheeler gets across the 10 up to about the 14-yard line, and did not get it. And they say Constantini was the ball player. No, it wasn't. It was Wheeler. And Wheeler.
Yeah, that was Wheeler.
He got up to about the 12-yard line, so it's going to be fourth down. I know my eyes sometimes go on me, but my eyes didn't go on me.
Have we had a punt fielded tonight?
Yes, we have. We've had. Well, I don't know.
Or did they let him roll? He's standing, that punter is standing on his goal line.
That's right. It's Constantini, who is the running back, and he's standing about 1 yard deep in the end zone. There's the snap. The rush is on. He gets off a beautiful high kick, though, that Hundley has at the 46. He's to the 45. It breaks a tackle and gets down inside the 40-yard line of St. Francis. And Marina, not out of it yet, has good field position at the 38-yard line of St. Francis with 1 minute exactly left to go in the third quarter, and Marina trailing St. Francis by a score of 21-7.
They have excellent field position to take over that football. There is only 54 seconds left in the third quarter, and they come out in a 2 wide receivers to the left.
You're doing pretty good, George, there. Ayala hands off to Warburton, and he gets down inside the 36 or 37-yard line as he's hit right at about that point and brought down by Carl McGee. Matt Peters was also there. You stunned me, George. You did pretty well there.
Is that's Warburton?
That's right.
He got up a little slow, but of course he's had a number of carries tonight.
He's had 12
carries, so
79 yards. Maybe getting a little fatigued. Ayala back to pass, has time, throwing on the left side, and it's almost intercepted. You know, this St. Francis secondary is something else. At that time, it was Todd Short who almost came up with the interception. I know he wants one, something bad. 8 seconds to go. It'll be 3rd and 9 for Marina as they trail it 21-7.
You know, it's interesting to watch St. Francis secondary in pass defense. They always seem to have an extra person around that football. And that's about 3 times that they've had kids dive
Did Marina, I believe Marina may have asked for a timeout here, George, with 8 seconds left. As Sam Aiello is over talking to the head coach, Dave Thompson. What a great job Dave Thompson's done at Marina High School. At Linwood High School in '77, he took them to the CIF championship where they lost. Came to Marina in '78. They were 4-5 last year. This year, 9-1. It's only the second year in the school's history they've been over 500.
Well, you know, whenever you bring up the word Marina in the school, Marina, in high school sports, you immediately think of basketball, because they have been an excellent basketball team, and that's good that they have the balance, that they are now running a good football program there.
Yeah, that's right, and I think it's great. They have also had some good wrestling programs. They've had some baseball teams that have gone to the playoffs, good track teams. Girls softball team, I believe, won the CIF title a couple of years ago. Aiello, back to pass on 3rd and 9. He has time. He's throwing on the left side for Hartley. It's incomplete at the 10-yard line, but a penalty flag is down. And it looks like we might have interference on one of the players, whether or not it was offensive or whether or not it was defensive. Brian Sanderson was covering, and apparently it's going to be against St. Francis. I did not see any contact because I was watching the passer that time. And
yep.
Apparently it happened before the ball even got close.
Pass interference, St. Francis. That's
and
unfortunate.
That's going to give Marina 15 yards and a first down. As in high school football, again, one of the rule differentiations. You do not spot the ball, or spat it for that matter, on the spot of the foul. You mark it 15 yards.
That's all right. We'll spat it there on the 23-yard line. That's all right.
That's what they say in Maine, you know.
We, as most of you know, we have a number of differences in rules, and I think that our rules are built for our kids, and that's for high school.
I think so, too.
Last second left.
Last play of the third quarter. Aiello fakes and hands off to Taylor, and Taylor gets inside the 20-yard line to about the 18, where it's going to be second down and about 5 to go when play is resumed. That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, St. Francis 21, Marina 7. We'll be back right after this message.
It's your day at VA. We've got something to say at VA. If there's a special skill you got in mind, we can help you out. We've got the time. A loan for a home, get one of your own. Come on, vets, and check your dates before it's too late to educate. But we got so much more. Oh, it's your day at VA. We've got something to say at VA. It's your day at VA. We've got something.
Back live at Glendale High School, I'm Ed Lewis along with George Scott. We start the fourth quarter. St. Francis 21, Marina 7, but Marina has the ball at the St. Francis 18-yard line. Second down and 5 to go. Backs are split now behind Sam Aiello. They are Warburton and Taylor. Aiello taking a long time. Fakes. Looks like he does. He pitches it back to Taylor, sweeping around the right side. He's inside the 15, down to the 10-yard line, and down to about the 8-yard line. It's going to be first and goal for Marina. Nothing fancy that time. Aiello sent Taylor in motion, and then as he rolled to his right, he was hit, and then pitched at the last second to Taylor, and that's the first time that we've seen that veer option pitch tonight.
I think that was a planned play, Ed.
I think so too.
His fake was very good, and I think that he meant to pitch that ball because he had 4 knights around him when he pitched it.
Spotted at the 9. First and goal for Marina. Again, the backs are split behind Sam Aiello. Aiello hands off to the first man through the line, who is Warburton, and Jim gets down to about the 7. Going to be second down and goal. Marina fighting for its life now. This has got to be about it. When you're having first and goal, you've got to score, especially when you're down by 2 touchdowns. Doing some good defense that time for St. Francis. Tom Klein, the defensive end. Ron Catafalmo also there, handling the defensive plays for Marina, as it's going to be second and goal from the 7 for the Vikings now.
Tough yardage in there.
Aiello fakes, and he's going to throw. Puts it up in the air for Hundley. He's got it, but out of bounds. A penalty flag is dropped on the play. Double teamed. Todd Short and Roger Clay were both covering that time, and depending upon who the penalty is going to be, if it's against St. Francis. It's going to be first and goal again, and it is against St. Francis for pass interference.
Yeah, he played the man. It appeared that he played the man, didn't play the ball.
Well, sometimes that can work to the defense's advantage because you prevent a touchdown even though you give up a first down. And it is first down for St. Francis. First and goal inside the 5.
Half the distance to the goal line, and it's first and about...
First down for Marina inside the 5-yard line. Backs are split now as Aiello hands off to Taylor, and Taylor is down to about the 1-yard line. Good blocking by the center of the Marina line. Lance Perry and Jeff Braun that time. They opened up a hole that you could walk through.
Taylor come back over. He was the right half that time, and he came back over the left side. Taylor has had 43 yards and 10 carries.
First and goal, Marina. They trail. Second and goal, rather, as Aiello keeps himself and has a touchdown for Marina. And the Vikings close to within 8, 21-13. Sam Aiello scores for the Vikings.
Now I suppose some of the gamblers will say, well, will they go for 2 or will they go for 1?
I think it's a bit too soon to go for 2 on this particular touchdown, because if you don't make it, then you have to go for 2 to tie on the next touchdown.
I'm with you, Ed. I feel that they should get that extra point, and then they're just 7 points away, and make that decision if they can score that third touchdown.
Jeff Avenatti to attempt the extra point now. Holding for Marina as their backup quarterback. There's the snap. The kick, it is up, and it is good. So with 10:24 to go in the game, there's a timeout on the field, and the score, St. Francis 21, Marina 14, and let's take another break. We'll be back right after this message.
Hello, this is Carol Lawrence. Suppose you were a young serviceman stationed overseas. Where would you go to learn the language on your new home? Where could you find housing assistance for you and your family? More than 5 million service personnel and their families know the answer. It's the USO. Service is the USO's middle name. And it's up to us to keep it coming. Support the USO through the United Way or your local USO campaign. Thank you.
Back live, I'm Ed Lewis along with George Scott. Marina has just scored, setting up a punt return at the 48-yard line. The Vikings were able to go down and get a touchdown to close within 7 now, as Aiello scores on a 1-yard run. And the Marina quarterback, who also plays defensive back, will be kicking off for the Vikings. Understand he makes a mean hot dog.
Well, you see, Marina took the first series.
Now, is it too soon to go for an onside kick? Maintain ball control. And here comes the kickoff. It's not an onside kick.
Not when you can kick it like that.
And it is taken in the end zone, so it will be an automatic touchback. It was taken in the end zone by Bill Chase. And so St. Francis will take over at the 20-yard line. St. Francis leading 21-14. In that third quarter, St. Francis outgained Marina 88 yards to 59 yards, even though they only ran one more play than the Vikings did, 14-13. But it was Marina that scored a touchdown in that third quarter to cut the lead to 21-14. St. Francis with a full house backfield now. It looks almost like a wishbone as the one trailing back is Sanderson. And Constantini takes the handoff from Beltrami, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage and shoved backwards before he can turn the corner. And you get the feeling that the Marina defense is fired up now, George, as Dwayne Furman and Ron Mathern keep Constantini from turning the corner that time, and he loses all the way back to about the 19-yard line. It's going to be second down and 12.
They are keyed up. You can tell that just the way they're jumping around and the way they're coming off the ball. Now, they're coming off the ball well.
They got to get it back, though, to score. 9:47 to go. Beltrami hands off to Sanderson. Sanderson breaks out of one tackle at the 15, but then is swarmed under and dropped at the 19. Oh, what great defensive pursuit by Marina that time. Rob Carpenter and Lee Knowles, they were all there. Sanderson's tough to bring down. We told you he has a great balance and is able to shift his weight quite well, and he did that time, but as soon as he broke out of one tackle, 3 others swarmed on him.
Well, and they strung that one out pretty well. The right side of that line, Carpenter, for him, and they kept it strung out. And then when he started to come back, they got some help from the weak side people, and that's where they were able to stop that play for no gain.
Net loss, as a matter of fact. I think he may have lost, well, they say no gain. I thought he lost maybe a little bit of yards. St. Francis is 5 for 8 on third down, and they're going to have third down and 12 here. As I'm not sure whether it was Marina or St. Francis that used the timeout, but apparently the clock has been stopped. And it may have been St. Francis calling timeout, because the quarterback for the night, Vince Beltrami, is over talking to Brian Fogarty, the head coach at St. Francis, and what a job he's done in his first year as the head man, taking the Knights to second place in the Del Rey League. Only 2 losses, really 3, but one of those a forfeit, or rather Long Beach Poly had to forfeit the game back to St. Francis.
What year did Brian graduate from St. Francis?
I don't know, but we were talking, and he said he played under Jim Yang at St. Francis when Yang was head coach there, so it must have been the mid-60s, late 60s.
Probably when Jack Friedman went north for a couple of years.
Up at the University of Washington.
Right.
3rd and 12 for St. Francis as the fans rise to applaud the Knights the ball at the 18-yard line. Beltrami barking out the signals, and he caught a Marina player moving just a little bit too soon, and that's going to give St. Francis an advantage. It's going to be 3rd and 7 as a mark off the 5-yard. And he lines up nose-to-nose with the center. It's 3rd down and 7 at the 23. Beltrami to throw. He rolls to his right. He's in trouble. He's grabbed at the 15 and throwing for a loss back at the 11-yard line. Oh, what a super defensive play by the nose guard, Craig Sturgis, for Marina. A loss clear back to the 10-yard line, and they'll spot it actually at the 12, and that is where it's going to be 4th down for St. Francis.
Super play.
Just when it looked like St. Francis may be coming back, the Marina defense tightens up, and now perhaps the biggest series of the game is coming up for Marina offensively if they can get the ball back here without a penalty or a miscue.
Notice they bring 2 men back to receive that ball on punts.
Both teams are doing that tonight, which is unusual. A lot of times we see only one. Standing at the goal line to punt this time is Constantini, and he gets off a high punt as the rush was on by Marina that time. And it is taken by Hundley at the 45-yard line of St. Francis. He's inside the 40, down inside the 35 to the 33. And Marina is going to have excellent field position to start this drive, trailing 21-14 with 8:18 left. Now, not to put the cart before the horse, but in high school playoffs, you do have sudden death. So if you make a touchdown, do you go for the tie, or do you go for a 2-point conversion and win it outright?
Well, of course, I'm sure that the Vikings coach knows the abilities of his kids, the place kickers, and I'm sure he has thought of this.
I'm sure he has too, but they got to get it in the end zone first,
well,
right?
Yeah, he's got 33 yards to go, although was it Hunter on that run back did an excellent job. He must have picked up 12, Huntley, he must have picked up 12, 13 yards.
On 1st down, Ayala fakes, spins, turns, throws, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Todd Short at the 35. He's to the 40, the 45, the 50. He could go all the way. He's inside the 40, inside the 30. One man to beat, and he's finally grabbed inside the 10 at the 5-yard line. Oh, how the momentum can change. Todd Short intercepted at the 35-yard line and rambled all the way back to the Marina 5-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal after an interception return of 58 yards. 58 yards. 1st down, they'll spot it at the 7-yard line.
What a crucial play with 7 minutes and 46 seconds left.
Boy, that could take the starch out of Marina right there. The Vikings looked like they were making noise. St. Francis leading 21-7, has it again at the 7-yard line of Marina. 1st and goal. Beltrami brings them up. 3 backs in the backfield now. As Beltrami hands off to Constantini. He spins free. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Francis. And it goes up to 27-14 in favor of the Golden Knights. And you can hear the fans pounding on the press box here as the St. Francis Knights have turned it around just like that. Boy, you got to feel for this Marina team. It's come so far in so short a time, and an interception does them in.
Yeah, that I think that Ayala underthrew the ball because his kid was open.
Ferdo Cesar will attempt the extra point for St. Francis. There's the snap. The kick is up. It's good. 7:27 left to go in the game, and the score is St. Francis 28, Marina 14, and we'll be back right after this message.
Carol Burnett for Riff.
Reading is thinking and learning and growing, but a child won't read if he doesn't want to. So Riff is giving kids the incentive, and Riff programs are getting them the books. Riff is Reading is Fundamental, a national program that helps kids to help themselves to books. But Riff works only if people work too. Start a Riff program in your community.
Write to Riff, Box 23444, Washington, D.C., 20024.
St. Francis turns it around. A 58-yard interception return by Todd Short, a 7-yard run by Pat Costantini, and it is 28-14 in favor of St. Francis. And the Vikings of Marina have really got their work cut out for them now with 7:27 left to go in the game.
Yeah, what an interception and run.
What a time.
Oh, right at the time if you're a St. Francis fan, and of course if you're a Viking fan,
will cry.
Unfortunately.
Here comes the kickoff by Cox, and we have a penalty marker on the play. Looks as though St. Francis may have been offside on the kickoff as they spot it right at the 40-yard line, the penalty marker. The only thing I could ascertain it to be. And that's what it is. They're going to have to kick off again, this time from the 35-yard line.
That is almost unheard of, and any is offside on a kickoff.
You ever seen it called on the defense on a kickoff? I mean, on the receiving team?
No, but, well, yes, I've seen it called, but not for a number of years.
Maybe on an onside kickoff or something like that where they get a little nervous. Here comes the kickoff by St. Francis. It is taken by one of the up people for Marina at the 35. The tight end gets across the 40 up to the 45-yard line. Bringing it back was Lee Knowles, who is also a linebacker, of course, on the Marina defensive team. Up to the 41-yard line. That is where the Vikings will take it, trailing by 2 touchdowns with 7:20 left to go. And you know Marina's got to get a quick strike here. That's no doubt about it. And then they got to hope that they can do like they did before and hold St. Francis on a defensive stand deep in St. Francis territory.
They have got to score quickly.
Iola knows it. He rolls to his left, but hands off before he does to Warburton. And Warburton is running with reckless abandon, and he carries Reckless with him across the 50-yard line up to about the 49-yard line.
I believe he even carried abandon. I believe he carried abandon with him, too.
He was running like he saw the goal line that time. He just tore and carried 2 tacklers with him. At the 48, it's going to be first down for Marina.
Must have picked up about 12 yards on that one. 11 yards.
Wide to the left side goes Larry Bodle. To the right side is Huntley. And we have a fumble as trying to go up the center of the line was Taylor, and he fumbled right at the line of scrimmage, and it looks like Marina may have come back up with it. Yes, I think Taylor got his own fumble. No gain on the play, maybe half a yard if that. Second down. Third Marina fumble, and I think they've gotten all 3 of them back. So turnovers have really not had that much of an effect on the game except for the interceptions.
The interceptions. And, of course,
turnovers have had no effect on St. Francis's game except for the ones they've obtained.
Marina has to put some points on the board quickly.
2nd and 9, back to pass is Aiello, and one of his own men blocks a tackler right into him as Ron Catafalmo is blocked right into Aiello, and he just grabbed him in a bear hug and threw him for a loss back at the 40-yard line. When it rains, it pours, and that is what is happening. It is pouring on Marina right now. The sun is shining on St. Francis at the moment.
Looks like about a 10-yard loss, so now it is third down. And 20.
3rd and 20 to go for the Vikings. They trail it by a score of 28-14. 5.5 minutes to go in the game, in the season for one of these teams. As back to passes Aiello. Throws, and it's almost intercepted. It is intercepted by Todd Short. He's got it at the 50-yard line and goes out of bounds with it at the 37-yard line. Todd Short with a second interception. A beautiful interception. He bobbled it for a few moments, held on to it, and then took it down inside the 40-yard line. It's no wonder they say the St. Francis secondary is so great, and it's no wonder that particularly Dave Thompson of Marina singled out Todd Short, the man who with 2 interceptions has turned this game around.
Well, I think that Ayala threw that one into some territory he didn't want to. He had 3 receivers in there, and of course, you know, with St. Francis's defense, if he had 3 receivers in there, there were at least 4 defensive people.
And a wishbone now. St. Francis comes out, and the handoff goes from Beltrami back to Wheeler, and Wheeler gets down about the 36-yard line. Sanderson, rather, carried that time, and gain of about 2 yards. It's going to be 2nd down and 8 to go. I would say that that might be the nail in Marina's coffin. I don't mean to kiss them off, but boy, they don't have it right now.
Yeah. We're down almost 4.5 minutes left, just about 4 minutes 40 seconds left. So
Beltrami on 2nd down. Have to keep it himself as there was a miscue on the handoff, and all the people expecting to get the handoff went down on their knees. Beltrami decided, I can't hand off to you on your knees because you can't move the ball. So he kept it himself, and he didn't move it very far either. It's going to be 3rd down and 7 as they'll spot it at the 36.
You know, Beltrami has done an excellent job tonight. He has performed well, and he has scrambled well to throw a couple of key passes and drives in that first half.
Again, what looks like a wishbone this time for St. Francis, and Beltrami hands off to Wheeler, and Wheeler breaks the tackle at the 35 and gets inside the 30 and has a 1st down as he gets down to the 25-yard line. Well, clutch plays for St. Francis here are winning them this football game as they're holding on to the football, and it looks like St. Francis might be playing Loyola next week as Loyola's playing Redlands tonight. And Loyola really had St. Francis's number the first time those two played.
Yeah, we're down to 3 minutes and 43 seconds with a 1st down, and
at the 25 of Marina.
Right.
St. Francis leading by a score of 28-14. Beltrami hands off to Costantini, and he spins and fights his way down inside the 25 to about the 23. It's going to be 2nd down and 8. You're listening to high school football on KPCS Pasadena. Stay tuned after tonight's game for Pacific Weekend, which we will be joining in progress here on KPCS. Following that, Sacramento Update at 11 o'clock. Darkness tonight at 11:30. Tomorrow we become KPCC, and we'll have the Valley Met Bowl for you. Pasadena City College against College of the Sequoias beginning at 1 o'clock. Beltrami hands off to his fullback this time, and it is Gibbs.